Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So today we're going to be doing a bit of a refurbish on this old DeVilbiss GTi. So I just started working at this new shop, and one of my workmates, some old Filipino guy, he came up to me and he just put that into my hand and he said, there you go, you can have that. Anyone that knows me will not be surprised that my eyes lit straight up, and I was very excited to get this thing working again. So as you can see, it's been neglected for quite some time. It's got a lot of dust on there. The internal passage of the gun has had some kind of a 2-pack paint in there. It's all gone hard and made an absolute mess. So yeah, I just got to it and started pulling parts off, scrubbing it up, cleaning it up with some thinners, just a bucket of thinners there. I didn't end up soaking it. It turns out that it didn't really need that much of a soak, so it did end up cleaning up relatively easy for me. So yeah, just a bit of a strip down. One thing that I will recommend is look, when you're cleaning guns, even this old out, there's no need to take out the air adjustment valve down the bottom now. I used to work with an apprentice. He gone and bought himself a new GTi Pro back in those days. It was like 10 years ago now. But he went and took that air valve out, and it basically ruined the gun. So to be honest, I didn't do it. So, I mean, maybe if it had been someone like me that was a little bit more careful with the gun, it wouldn't have happened. At the end of the day, most of the time, there's no reason to take it out anyway. I asked him, I said, why did you pull that out anyway, man? Like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years at that point, and I've never pulled it out. I've never seen any need to. He just said, I just wanted to give it a really good clean. And I'm like, man, no paint gets in there. You know what I mean? So he learnt the lesson. I learnt a lesson from him doing something a little bit silly, and I'll pass that knowledge on to you. I mean, you do you, but yeah, I just find sometimes less is more when it comes to cleaning spray guns. If you don't need to take a part off, if you've got no need to, just leave it on. So this is where most of the paint does go. It just goes through the top of the gun, where the paint pot sits, and then it goes down to the front of the gun. So that's where you should be spending, I would say, most of the time doing your cleaning. But yeah, this is where I got to after about half an hour of scrubbing. As I say, I didn't actually end up needing to soak it. I did throw a couple of the parts into the thinners pot while I was cleaning the others, but yeah, the thinners that we're using at the moment is actually really quite aggressive, so I was pretty lucky there. But there are some other things on the market, like if you're here in Australia, there's one called Cam Clean. I've heard some American people and some people from Europe saying there's one called Naked Gun. But I've also heard some other people around the world saying that they can't get it. So yeah, the Cam Clean, you can actually see it to the right of screen there. As I say, I didn't actually end up using it. I told one of the apprentices to grab it, but I found I didn't need it. So that stuff is quite stinky and it's really bad for you. So that's why if you don't need to use it, I would avoid using it, because it's quite an aggressive solvent and it's got some very nasty chemicals in there that will probably give you cancer. So nobody really wants that. So what I'm doing here is I ended up throwing on the air cap and fluid tip out of my old DeVilbiss GTi. So I've got an old DeVilbiss GTi. It was the very first spray gun I ever bought. But as you saw there, the spray fan, it's done. Like it's okay. Like you could spray with it, but it's just a bit uneven. So what I ended up doing here is getting a couple of brand new parts for it. Believe it or not, you can actually still get all of the parts for these old GTIs brand new. Now I will say they are ludicrously expensive, but they do exist. So Spray Guns Direct did actually send out a fluid tip and a air cap for this gun. I've got a 1.4 and a 110 air cap. It's an insane price that you will be paying, I'm just warning you, but if you're that much of a DeVilbiss GTi nutter and you want to have a look, I will be putting a link in the description, and it actually tells you the part numbers of every single part on the gun. So, and it's got like a visual map of it too. So yeah, that's very handy, rather than just calling someone up and saying, oh, I need the part that goes on the bottom of the gun. What's it called? I don't know. But here we go, straight away after getting the new parts into it and the new air cap. Have a look at that. What a solid spray fan on the old DeVilbiss GTIs. So I know you're all going to be asking me, how does it actually spray in the booth? And you probably want to see it spraying. So without further ado, let's go into the spray booth. I've actually been using this for just about every job for a whole week, and I've been using it with the clear coat, the PPG LVC 105 clear. I believe that's actually an Australian clear. But yeah, it absolutely pounds it on. So a little bit too heavy I've actually found with 1.4. So I've been winding the fluid in a fair way. So I've actually found that this 105 clear, you've got to put the first coat on ultra skinny, like the most skinniest coat while still being a closed coat. So what that means is a closed coat means that you can't see any of your base coat, so no bare base coat. So it's not like a half coat, it's still like a full closed coat, but very skinny. So high pressure, hold the gun nice and close to that first coat. But then on your second coat, I found you can wind the fluid out a little bit and then turn the pressure down a little bit. So yeah, first coat I'll actually get the pressure up above 2 bar. So I don't know exactly how much. I know when I'm looking at my gauge, it's just a little bit above 2 bar. And then yeah, 2.5 turns out on the fluid, which actually still is not full fluid. So yeah, these old GTIs are pretty renowned for smashing a lot of material on. I ended up going for the 1.4, so I could have chosen I think 1.2 or 1.3 mil. I just went for the 1.4 because that was the go-to. Like, that was everyone's setup. When you got a GTI, at least here in Melbourne, all of my mates that were painters, that was just the setup that everyone seemed to have. So I just thought, well, I'll go with what seemed to be the go-to setup back in the day. But in hindsight, I probably could have gone and got a 1.3 because yeah, it had been so long since I'd used one of these GTIs. I'd kind of forgot how much material they put on. So yeah, that's just a quick look at the kind of results you can get out of it. One hell of a solid fan. And just quickly, I actually think I prefer this than the T110 cap on the Pro Lite. So leaving you guys with that to think about, I might have to do another video where I go side by side with the GTI versus the GTI Pro Lite. Until then, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out. I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you're more than welcome to go over and check out some of the merchandise we've got. My personal favourite is those spray suits, so they're a good quality Colad branded spray suit with a Gunman logo on it. There's also hats, drink coolers, hoodies and t-shirts, so be sure to go over and check out the link in the description if you are interested.